Why WoW 2 is coming and could already be here. I've said this for a while now. I think WoW 2 is kind of in the making, not necessarily a relaunch of the game, but like a relaunch of, you know, a return to the past, right? Not a return to the past necessarily, but a return to the old basics. I've talked about the other side of Azeroth being in existence. Maybe we get 2 new continents. We go back to the days of just wandering the forest and killing Hogger and stuff like that. Kind of a return to the basics. And that's what I see WoW 2 as being, maybe with refreshed graphics and everything else. Let's see what Preach means when he says WoW 2 is coming.
When the World Soul Saga was announced, immediately I thought, WoW 2 is coming. And it's been a pretty hot...
By the way, Preach got the hair, surgery. Look at that. It worked for him. Just saying, might work for me.
...topic in my circles for a while now. I was even asked about it at my recent Blizzard trip to Boston. However, it has caused some confusion as to what WoW 2 would mean for our beloved 20-year-old...
Yeah, this will never happen. I can't imagine Blizzard going all the way out with like a full Unreal Engine remake of the game. It's just, I just don't see that happening. Do I see them continuing to upgrade the graphics in the game? Yeah, but full-on Unreal Engine? Probably
old
not.
MMO. And the weird thing is, it's kind of already happening.
Oh my god, he is European too. You're right.
Let's take a look.
I'm not going to BS you and say I've confirmed or leaked info. We don't. It's speculative for sure, but there is so much evidence to suggest that something may be in the works. The World Soul Saga itself having a definite end point, and that the final expansion, The Last Titan, probably being Azeroth, might actually cause the destruction of some or even part of the planet.
I think The Last Titan, as of right now, I feel like it's going to lead into this whole, Void versus the Titans, the light, all that shit. We're going to get into this huge battle. The biggest threats Azeroth's ever known are gone now, and then we hear about this Light Emperor on the other side of the world, and what the hell is he up to? And then bam, that's where we go, and that kind of kicks off like a WoW 2, where we got new cities, a whole new leveling campaign, all new continents, big places to explore, and that kind of kicks off basically a WoW Renaissance or a WoW 2.
All right. Time for...
And people fucking lost their minds when I said the War Within was going to be the final expansion, and the World Soul Saga was the final expansion of WoW. People got pissed at me for saying that. Like, they said I was clickbaiting and shit. I'm like, no. It is the final expansion of WoW as we know it. Whatever comes after is going to be different. It's either going to be like completely new stories in the same world, or it's going to be a different world, new stories, or other side of Azeroth, new stories. Like, it is the official end of WoW as we know it, the World Soul Saga.
A lore catch-up. Okay, in the beginning, there were Titans. They are huge, and they all live friendly, held hands, a lot of flowers going on. But then, one of them got mad. See Brownbeard? Boom, Sargeras, yeah? Got horns. He was mad, wrecked all their bodies, but trapped fragments of them in the big suck. And then, we come along, muscle-bound. What did we do? Sucked off Sargeras, yeah? Straight to the Shadow Realm with you.
Sucked
Still
him
around,
off. Okay,
though.
yeah.
Illidan coming back. And then, Baby Bean. Azeroth itself is a world soul. Where do Titans come from? Boom! Baby beans. And that's in the middle of our planet. What does that mean when the last Titan approaches? Bang! Everything's gonna break. That's how you do lore. Screw you, Noble.
Screw you, Noble. But does this planet have to explode? Because we were able to summon a world soul. We were able to summon Argus to the Pantheon without exploding the planet. Now, yes, the planet of Argus was already kind of falling apart, but us bringing his world soul out from the planet did not necessarily make the planet explode this way. So I think we can see Azeroth without the entirety of Azeroth turning to pieces. Leave Noble.
WoW
Yeah,
over
Noble's
its
great.
20 years has amassed a lot of geographical space that, let's face it, in the retail version of the game is basically empty. So a little catastrophic destruction wouldn't be the end of the world, literally. And with things like the Caverns of Time existing to go back and do the older content when players want, it's all good. All that is to say, if you were going to do something spectacular, then the end of the World Soul Saga fits quite nicely, doesn't it? Which brings us to WoW 2. Now, since the discussion started, there have been quite a lot of suggestions and confusion on just how that would happen. Would it be a different launcher? Would there be new characters to make? Would it be like FF14, where they literally destroyed the game and a new one launched that was...
That's it. I mean, we've seen it happen, right? Everyone talks about Final Fantasy XIV. They did this. They destroyed the game, relaunched it, and it's been far more successful than the original ever was. Now, the original Final Fantasy Online did not have the success that World of Warcraft has, so it wasn't a big risk for them to do this. But it's basically like, hey, we got to relaunch this shit or it's going to just fall into the ground. So WoW isn't in that state. They could still take the risk, though. They can still take the risks and give us something, a refresh to the game. You don't lose all your items, you don't lose your characters, but it does feel like a refresh in that you're starting over, wandering the forests, killing bandits, back on a grounded version of Azeroth. No more of this celestial beings coming to destroy you, big overpowered shit. It's kind of like a soft reset to the game. That's what I expect it to be.
It's entirely different. Would it be like Overwatch, forcing everyone to move over to Overwatch 2? Maybe it's even got some FPS component or something.
Oh god, no.
As crazy as it may sound, it's understandable where these ideas have come from. For years, people have been making all kinds of wonderful WoW-inspired content using tech that isn't over 20 years old at this point. And I'm sure many of you have seen recreations of your favorite zones made in Unreal Engine, with gorgeous lighting, fully voiced, or even looking at Blizzard's advanced animation techniques that we know they're capable of. Before we go into that though, the question always comes up, why? Why would there even be a WoW 2? Well, pick your poison. There's no way in hell Morhaime and the squad expected their game that they made all those years ago to be still up and running. And it's pretty clear, the speed bumps are over for now. It isn't going away anytime soon, so it makes sense to start planning for another 20 years.
Yeah, Microsoft did not pay, what was it, 68 billion or something like that, 64, whatever billions of dollars amount for the MMO part of what they purchased to just be shut down. World of Warcraft was a major part of that purchase. A lot of people are just think that all they did was want to buy COD. No, it's not just about COD. If you notice, a lot of these big companies are trying to make the great MMO because they probably see MMOs as the future of the metaverse and all that other weird shit that all these companies always talk about. There's a reason why Amazon's always trying to pump out the next great MMO. There's a reason why Riot is pumping out an MMO. And there's a reason why Microsoft wanted to join the game and they purchased World of Warcraft. Right? It's a big thing. So for them to just shut it down after this purchase, no, that's not going to happen. They do see a future for WoW. Is that future a WoW 2 or just continuing expansion after expansion with what we currently have?
I apologize to my OGs for what's about to happen. And to the people who are now playing WoW, who were born after it came out, this isn't going to be pretty. Do you realize just how old World of Warcraft is? We say 2004, but do you know that's the year that Half-Life 2 came out? Halo 2?
Oh, damn.
Metal Gear Solid 3, which is now about to get
a good year for games.
Fifth revision of the game. If that doesn't make you feel old, let me do this for you. Doom: The Dark Ages just came out and people are ripping and tearing all the way through. Do you know in 2004 though, Doom 3 came out. A game so advanced that it couldn't even run on most people's PCs at all. Still not enough? Okay. Last week, as of recording this, we got the big reveal of GTA 6 coming next year and what it looks like.
Yeah.
In 2004, along with its marketing of some of the best, most realistic graphics out there, GTA San Andreas came out.
Oh my god.
Look at them side by side, my friends. 20 years.
Holy crap.
Is a really long time in tech.
Problems with current WoW are pretty obvious, right? For the most part, the game runs decently, but then... I'm not going to be rolling dice again here, but you guys have done a world boss. Whole game just falls apart. It's in fact gotten so bad that 30-man Ansarek was essentially unplayable for many people. WoW was known for a long time as the seamless world with no loading screens, and now, well, we load screen every couple of seconds. At the Race to World First, not only do the raiders get top-of-the-line PCs, but they have all these weird rules, such as relogging or restarting every couple of hours to clear out cache and reset memory and things, as it has dramatic performance loss if you are playing WoW for a few hours. Silly things have been a nightmare to change. The backpack size, for one. Like, the entire original code was built on the back of it. or the struggles.
Yeah, there's issues. That's why a lot of times Blizzard will implement a very simple patch, and I've talked about this before. Like, oh, all we're doing is adding this one new feature, and then it breaks the game for like a week, and everyone's like, "How did this one thing break the game?" And it's because of like the spaghetti code. It's just so much code built on top of so much 20 years of code. When you add something new in, you don't realize that something that was added into the game 18 years ago suddenly breaks, and then that's a foundational piece that drops a bunch of other shit on top of it. And that's part of the problem of a 20-year-old game is it's just really easy to break it. It is. It's like an elderly person.
Or the struggles they've had over the years with multi-core performance, which has grown, don't get me wrong, by leaps and bounds over the last decades. They have done some phenomenal upkeep and updates over the years, but the issues, they're all there for people to see, and I'm sure you can name 1,000 more. With that said, let's have the grand reveal. What, in my opinion, would WoW 2 look like? Well, here's a screenshot of World of Warcraft today in retail. And here is what WoW 2 would likely look like.
Yeah, probably.
When we're discussing WoW 2, it's not about the graphics. WoW's graphics can always be better, but the style has been pretty timeless. When showing you Grand Theft Auto earlier, the comparison doesn't really fit with something like WoW. More importantly, MMOs are like a comfortable blanket for a lot of players.
And by the way, Blizzard has upgraded the graphics many times. You can go play Classic right now on the old graphic style. No, it's very obviously that it's been updated. The environments, a lot of them have been updated. The characters themselves have been updated. The armor sets are much more high res now. Blizzard has run WoW 2-esque updates on the game, and they'll continue to do it. I mean, Silvermoon, one of the old pieces of the game, that whole Eastern Plague Lands, all that, those are all going to get rebuilt in the Midnight expansion. So they're working on updating the entire world into this new engine, new style already, which is why WoW 2 just launching all of a sudden is not a real thing. They're just going to continue to update the world as it currently exists. And that's why I feel like the graphics and the art style continue to hold up, as they've made little tweaks to kind of make it more HD and better res.
A dramatic shift in appearance and
but
style
still hold the
would
same art
likely
style.
not be welcome. Hell, dude, we've seen this so many times. People lost their minds at the updated character models a few years back, myself included. My Tauren used to look way meaner and angrier than this goofy face thing. No. The idea of WoW 2 is primarily back-end, to allow the game to do all the things they wish it could do and may want to do in the future without it being hamstrung by literally decades of old design. And that is what leads me to the next point. It's kind of already happening. Dragon riding and the new housing function that I got to test should not exist. Housing in particular was a feature I've talked to people at Blizzard about since 2016.
I mean, yeah, this looks like a WoW 2. Look at how freaking HD all of this looks. It looks beautiful. Compare this to the Lion's Pride Inn from original vanilla WoW. They don't even look like they're the same game.
The message was always the same regardless. It just can't be done in a way that makes it what the players want and expect. The game simply cannot do it. Well, just a week ago, I played it. It works. And it shouldn't. So how was it done? Look, man, when devs speak to me about this stuff, they rightly regard me like a child who cannot fathom that it is possible to connect two shoelaces together in a way that stay tied, and rightly so. I don't know about this stuff. But essentially I asked, how did you do it? How is this possible? How is dragon riding possible? It's not just the player in the 3D space, but faster, which is basically what normal mounts are. The answer was essentially, well, it wasn't. Until someone figured something out a few years ago, and now it's here. Cool.
What was
All
that
right.
something?
But here's the important bit in the statement that I got years ago.
What is Blizzard doing? Tying old servers to new server tech? Is that what they're doing? I'm not sure what he's getting at in terms of what the devs told him, but I'm assuming that's what he meant with tying two shoelaces together. Is implementing new servers on top of the old servers.
Often people don't really understand how long in the making things are. Blizzard has been working quietly, discreetly, on major additions for the game for literal years before it ever sees the light of day, and God knows how many they've scrapped.
Right.
And an overhaul of WoW could very well fall into that category. Now I know many of you are thinking, what's the point in making the same finished product that we see in game again? Well, This is actually happening, and I'm really not going to be chortling the balls here of FF14, but there's a prime example happening right now that is very relevant to what we're talking about, so bear with me here. FF14 is coming to mobile. That's right, the entire MMO, cutscenes, audio, the whole thing is going to be available on a mobile phone. Now, here's the thing. It's being rebuilt, similar to what we're talking about here, by a different company to visually come across as the same, but they're changing the foundation. They're changing their infrastructure at the very base, which is allowing the mobile version to do things that the main game cannot. I know that sounds crazy, but it is exactly what's happening, and it's causing a lot of issues in the FF14 community because they're like, wait, the mobile version in some ways is better than the console and PC version. A simple example would be dyeing armor. You can dye your armor in FF14.
I bet you the mobile version is going to be far more profitable as well. That's just crazy how much money. It's not a big thing in the US. Like, people spend money in the US on mobile games, but I don't even think the American mind or maybe the Western mind can comprehend how much people in like Korea and China and Japan spend on mobile games. It's insane. They will spend a freaking fortune on this shit. They'll put a mortgage down on a mobile game. It's crazy. And it's just so profitable. Diablo Immortal, all these other games, like, you might hate them, but man, they make these companies a lot of money.
14's main game. You can do it with 2 different colors. You can change them around to whatever you want. The mobile version allows for 16 different dye channels on your armor. You can customize the buttons, the lapels, the logos, all sorts of things.
Jeez.
Now, here's the weird thing. That actually exists in the main game in a form, right? You can do that with the use of add-ons. Add-ons allow you to change all the 16 things on armor.
I thought Final Fantasy doesn't allow add-ons.
The actual base game infrastructure does not allow that much information to be transferred amongst the players that are playing the game right now. If you want to do this, what you can do is save it locally to your machine. So you use an add-on, it shows you with your perfect little glam, your character will appear that way, but information is not being sent to other players. That is the trick. Their infrastructure does not allow that kind of information to pass between players. The foundation doesn't quite work. What the mobile game has been able to do is actually go in, change that base infrastructure, so even though the actual finished product looks exactly the same, no different whatsoever, the underlying structure allows them to do many more things. And you can imagine exactly why the main game players are a little miffed that the mobile version is seemingly superior in some ways. Why does this exist over on my bloody mobile phone, on my tablet, instead of existing in the big main game I'm playing on my super expensive PC? And there are a number of other examples of it. But this is a prime example of what we're talking about that WoW is trying to do, and WoW might want to adopt, is by remaking the whole game, changing all that base infrastructure, allowing a lot more doors to be open. The finished product looks the same, but it is absolutely not the same at the bottom, and allows for so many more options.
Right, because they rebuilt it, so just like I said with the spaghetti code, they don't deal with that on this new mobile version of the game because they built it brand new from the ground up, so they can do new things with it.
That said, perhaps World of Warcraft 2 is in the box, the collector's edition, the expansion, the title itself will never exist. Instead, Blizzard has found a different way. Bit by bit, they're going to consume and overtake and replace all these old systems one by one.
Right.
Or perhaps, when the credits roll on the World Soul Saga, we'll see a message. World of Warcraft, a realm reborn.
And this kind of music start. Oh god. Yeah, alright. The bodybuilder heads. This is wonderful. It's wonderful. It's a pretty good video. I haven't watched a lot of Preach recently. This is a fun one. Look, yeah, WoW 2 to me is happening gradually but surely. They are working their way through it. And what the end of the World Soul Saga will signal is a closing, not only of some of the lands that have yet to be remade, that will be remade by the time this whole thing ends, because we're getting Northrend rebuilt, basically. We're getting, obviously, Silvermoon and everything around it rebuilt. we're also going to get the lore rebuild. Because the soft reset kind of the lore, we're reaching the pinnacle of what the Void is, what the Titans are, and everything else. Where are the threats left? Well, maybe they'll come back down to Earth a little bit, or should I say back down to Azeroth, fighting against the light army, some more grounded lore. I'm excited for that. We'll see what happens. Nice video from Preach.